Hey, my lovely YouTubers, welcome back to my YouTube channel with me, your girl, Morgan Tracy J. Coming today with another morning coffee video, boo. And today, I'm coming very chill. I am coming from my office. I'm sitting down on a couch, and I really just decided to grab the mic because my office space actually is pretty wide, and then there's a lot of echo. There's just a lot of going on. And so I thought, well, let's just grab the mic. Let's sit down. Let's have a real talk about being fearless, okay? You guys know I talk about fearlessness a lot, and if you're new to my channel, I want to tell you, girl, I talk on faith, fashion, and fearlessness, okay? So subscribe to the YouTube family, and I know you're going to get blessed by this. So real quick, I'm going to talk on something that I've talked on before, but I'm going to give you a little bit of different flavor to it, okay? Because in 2016, I decided that I was going to try the year of the fearless. Okay, this was something where I truly felt like the word for that year the Lord gave me was fearlessness, like being fearless. In 2016, I was like, I'm going to be fearless this year. I'm going to be fearless, thinking that I wasn't going to experience fear. And really quickly, I realized I was seeing a lot of fear in my life, from the idea of starting more on YouTube and pushing myself to take more photos and to show up for myself and to show up in the way that I seen the Lord guiding me. And quickly I realized there was a lot of fear. And I decided, and I quickly realized with the Holy Spirit, with that power of just the acknowledgement of it, is being fearless does not mean there's not going to be any fear. Being fearless does not mean that there will be an absence of fear. It means that fear will be there, and you just have to decide to show up through that. And I quickly did it. Actually, 2016 was when I preached my very first, was it 2016? No. I already preached a sermon in 2015, but I think the end of 2015 is when I started kind of walking into a little bit more boldness. And then 2016, the word the Lord gave me was fearlessness. And so I called it the year of the fearless, okay? And when I called it that, I knew that year I was going to be fearless. That year I watched myself step out way more. I started taking more photos. I remember I bought a camera. I just started having faith in ways I had not had faith before. And 2016, if you truly looked at my life, it wouldn't look like there was a lot of growth. I'm not going to say 2016, bam, my life took off, because I was, no, it didn't that year. That year, I was just starting to put myself out there more. But I want to tell you, in 2017, I launched a ministry. I watched my YouTube channel go to 1,000 subscribers or more. But it was because of what I did in 2016, how I had been being so bold and challenging myself that year, that I realized by 2017 it was becoming second nature. That's why today I can believe God for certain things, because in 2016 that was the word he gave me, and so I was able to believe God to do certain things in my life then. So now it's just been built on it. So I want to tell you, girl, I don't know about you, but maybe you're the girl who has to say, this is the month of the fearless. For me, it was the year of the fearless. This is the month of me being fearless. This is the week I'm going to be fearless. This is the day I'm going to be fearless. And I'm going to show up for the things that I know God has put in my heart. And I say this because I have been the type to where I have all these great ideas, but I quickly talked myself out of it. I would look at my life and I would be like, oh, Morgan, you can't do the ministry. You didn't grow up Christian. Oh, Morgan, you can't do the ministry. Look, you just messed up last week. Oh, Morgan, you can't preach that message because look, you don't know the word enough. You need to know 1,000 more scriptures before you try to do this, right? I used to really allow fear to hold me back and disqualify me. And that's the key with fear. The goal is to hold you back. But if you feel the fear and you're like, I can't preach, I don't know enough scripture, I am not perfect, I am not clean, I don't have all these things together. And if you can say, I'm scared, but I'm going to do it even though I'm scared. I'm going to be fearless. I'm going to step up to that plate. And you know what? I might try this thing and it may fail horribly, but I'm going to step up to that plate. Okay. And I think the truth is, I didn't know. I believed the Lord was going to bring prosperity. I believed he was going to do these great things, but truly I didn't know when I was stepping up to this plate. Even when I was leaving my 9-to-5, it took fearlessness because I was making enough money at the time, but I was so scared to not have that cushion of a 9-to-5. I was afraid to leave that, but I knew that, hey, if you're afraid of this, then most likely this might be the thing to do, because many times our blessing is camouflaged with fear. And as I'm wearing camouflage right now, right? But I just will say this. There's many times I have sat in my fear knowing that I have these great ideas, and knowing that God is giving me the greatness, he's giving me blessing, he's already spoke word over me, knowing that the only person that's holding me back is not the season, it's really myself. It's the only person holding me back is not the money, it's myself. And I'm speaking this because just this recently, I walked around some venues recently in Tulsa, Oklahoma. My office is in another location in Oklahoma, but I went up to Tulsa and I walked around some venues. And y'all, this is something I could have done years ago. I could have years ago set up an event for His Daughter's Closet. But what it was fear. It was fear because, I don't have the money, I don't have the resources, I don't have the time. And now I'm doing it, and it's still taking the same amount of faith. I don't fully have all the resources. I don't know who's going to do this. I don't know who's going to do that. I don't really have the time now for sure, but it's going to take faith. And I will say this, that the blessing I'm walking in now, I could have walked in years prior, but I just didn't have the faith to believe for it yet. And now I have the faith to believe that God is going to do X, Y, and Z. So I'm walking into that. And for you, daughter of God, there might be something in your life. You're like, it's just not my time right now. I'm in a waiting season, when really all it is if you get your faith to the right level to believe for that thing, you will receive that thing. You will be walking in that thing. It might not just pop up in your lap, but at least you're walking in it. See, I want to tell you, before I was in an office, I was already walking in an office. I was at home in my apartment, and I would dress a certain way because I knew one day I would be going to my office. Before I was walking in this particular office, I was walking in the other office, speaking words over what we were going to do in that place. So see, I want to tell you right now, it's the level of faith you have. So where you're currently walking at is the level of faith you currently have. And you have to be acknowledging of that. And then you also have to say, hey, maybe I need to get back to a place of acknowledging that where my faith is. There's seasons when I have not been able to believe God for a healthy relationship. Let me be real. Then there's seasons I could believe God for thousands of dollars, right? So you got to acknowledge where your faith meter is at based off of the season you're in your life. And years ago, when God put it on my heart to create a woman's event for His Daughter's Closet, I outlined it. I did all these things, but I didn't have the faith to follow through because I was looking at my circumstances. I was looking at the money that I didn't have. I was looking at the degree I didn't have at the time. I was looking at everything. And my faith told me that my lack of faith, my fear told me that I was disqualified for that. And I want to tell you right now, nothing has truly changed except my faith. The degree, I still ain't got. I'm working towards it, but I still don't got that one. The money changed a little bit, but the time has depleted even more these days. The only difference is my faith. So I want to tell you, daughter of God, how to get fearless, because fearlessness is attached to your faith. And there's this quote that says, where fear is tolerated, faith is contaminated. So where you allow fear to sit there long enough, it's going to deplete your faith. So you might have faith for a really great relationship, but then you allow fear to sit in your finances. So now you don't have the faith to believe God for the finances, or it might be vice versa. So I want to tell you, you got to start paying attention to the areas that you have allowed fear to sit too long. God might be giving you these ideas and you have allowed fear to just tell you, girl, this is not it. This ain't it. This ain't it. So now you ain't even moving no more on it because fear has been sitting there and it's been contaminating your faith in that area. I'm sharing all this because I am one to realize that my faith plays a pivotal part in the seasons that I'm in life. It's my faith. And I want to share with you that if you are somebody who has been struggling with your faith, or even struggling to believe that God cares about you, that God will show up for you, the first thing is you got to get back to God being your source again. And I say again is because I'm very known to do this, is that there's times that the ministry will become my source. There was a season in my life where a relationship was my source. There was another season in life where my job, my 9-to-5 was my source. And so how I knew what my source was is because what I would be looking to deliver me from. You see, when we're going through hard things, we got to look to God because He's our deliverer. When we're going through struggling things, when we're looking for a blessing, we don't look at the instrument, we look at the source. So the instrument might be the job. The instrument might be my ministry. The instrument might be my gifts. The instrument might be my idea, but the source is the one who gave me that instrument. And so you got to pay attention to, and how you know you're not tapped in really with the source again is because you're only looking at the instrument. You're only trying to use the instrument And the instrument for me at times was the ministry. I would be looking at the ministry like, oh, this is going to make me fulfilled. This is going to bless my life. This is going to do X, Y, and Z. But it was like, no, forget it. Sis, you got it wrong. That's the instrument. The source is what's going to bless your life. The source is what's going to have you fulfilled. The source is what's going to bring you prosperity and bless you. It's the source, and these are his instruments. And so I will tell you, if you're someone who's like, man, I don't know how to be fearless, let God be your source again. Just be like, Lord, I let you be my source. That everything flows from you. Everything is supplied by you. That you brought me the instruments. I'm not gonna praise the instruments. I'm gonna praise you. And so hopefully that right there will be the first thing, sis. If you are saying like, gosh, I feel like God has forgot about me. I feel like God isn't for me. I feel like God doesn't want me to be fearless because I don't have the confidence to move on anything. It's like, you got to make sure he is your supplier. And if you know that God is going to supply all your needs and he is your supplier, then the next thing is you've got to get some seed in the ground. And I talked about this recently to some ladies in the ministry, but having seed in the ground is not just money. Seed in the ground is your sacrifice. So there was a season in the ministry in the beginning stages, I didn't have money. So my seed was time. There was another season where I didn't have, I didn't know to even sow seed. So I was a Sunday school teacher for about a year or two in the beginning years of my ministry. I didn't realize that, but I was sowing seed into this ministry to bless my ministry, right? So, see, I didn't know that. So I want to encourage you, girl, get some seed in the ground. And the crazy thing is you already have some seed in the ground. You just don't acknowledge it. So I had to start to pay attention to the seed you have in the ground. All right. If that is a seed of money, there was a season I had $3 in my wallet. $3. Okay. And I remember the Lord told me to sow a seed, $1 for each dream. And I sowed $1 for my YouTube dream. I sowed another $1 for another dream I have, and another $1 for another. And so there's 3 dreams I had. And I sowed $1, and I just happened to see a homeless person. And I gave them those $3 that I had. And I knew that that was me sowing my seed into the dreams that God has given me. And what happens when a farmer puts a seed in the ground? They water it with their faith. So as a farmer waters his seed, that seed is getting prepared to grow. What point is it to put a seed in the ground and never water it? You are meant to water it with your faith. Your faith is you expecting God to do right by that seed. A farmer doesn't put a seed in the ground, water it, and say, man, like maybe nothing's going to come of this. No, if he's watering that thing, he's believing and knowing it's going to come. And so I want to tell you, that is how God has transformed my life in the fearlessness area, is because he had to be my source. And I haven't got that always right. I've messed up at times. I've made other people my sources, and God had to make him my source again, over and over. And I still consistently rededicate things to God, rededicate my life to God, because I'm human and I'm gonna be doing that till the day I die. So that's just what it is. But then also too, I can get some seed in the ground, and I got to acknowledge the seed that I put in the ground and understand that if I water this seed with faith, it will reap a harvest. And that's all I've been doing on YouTube for all these years, actually, is just watering these seeds. Okay. So I just wanted to tell this to you, and I wanted to end it with this, that make sure, daughter, that you are expecting your harvest. There should be a time, that's faith. There should be no time in your life where you don't have no expectancy. Like, oh, I'm just going with the wind. No, if a ship leaves the dock and has no direction, it can end up anywhere. So when you put your seed in the ground, all you're saying is, God, I'm leaving the dock and I'm believing that we're going to end up where you have showed me. I don't know how the sails are going to go. I don't know what waves we're going to hit. I don't know what challenges we're going to come across. But I know that I put seed in the ground, that you're my source. And when I leave this dock, I'm going to end up where the places you have shown me. So when I put seed in the ground, when I sowed that $1 for one of my dreams, that was me saying, God, I'm leaving the dock, but I'm going to end up at that dream. I'm going to end up in that location. I'm going to end up where you called me to end up. So daughter of God, today I just want to encourage you that my life changed in 2016 when I was already a saved girl. I'd already been saved since 2012. I seen my life change crazily in 2016 when I decided to start becoming fearless. And since 2016, I have watched my life change. And it's because I know who my source is. And even when I got it wrong, I put them back there, put them back at the head of my life. And then from there, I always sowed a seed. If it was money, if it was time, if it was a sacrifice, if it was pouring into somebody, sowing that seed, and I watered it with my faith and expected God to come through. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this blessed you and encouraged you, and I will see you in my next one.